You're not crazy, you're not lazy, and you're not irresponsible. That quiet frustration of working hard and having nothing to show for it is more common than anyone wants to admit. You see, there are habits, completely normal, everyday habits, that are quietly keeping millions of working adults from ever getting ahead financially. Not the obvious stuff, not your electric bill, and definitely not your coffee addiction. Just ordinary things that blend into daily life so completely that nobody questions them, nobody examines them. And so they continue, year after year, doing their damage in the background, while people work harder and harder and wonder why nothing changes. It's a set of small, deeply normalized habits that are bleeding your finances slowly enough that you never connect the dots. And that's what this video is about. By the end of this video, you're going to see at least 2 or 3 things you're doing right now that are working against you. Not because you're irresponsible or bad with money, but because nobody ever pointed them out. So stay with me, because one of the habits I'll mention later is probably the most misunderstood one, and most people don't realize it's hurting them until it's too late. Now, give the video a thumbs up, and let's dive in.
Habit 8. The urgency trap. Let's start with something you've definitely experienced. Something breaks. Your phone screen cracks, a tire goes flat, the washing machine stops working. And because there's no financial cushion, you have to fix it right now, with whatever option is fastest, which is almost never the cheapest. You pay the emergency repair price. You take the first offer. You put it on a payment plan with interest because there's no other choice. This is what financial experts call the poverty premium, and it's one of the cruelest cycles. Being low on money makes everything cost more, because urgency always costs more than patience. And when you're living on a small budget, you're always in urgency mode. The habit to break here isn't about the emergency itself. It's not having a buffer, even a small one. A few $100s sitting untouched changes your entire relationship with unexpected costs. A buffer helps you go from crisis mode to inconvenience mode. And though it's not great, that shift alone saves you money, stress, and bad decisions. Habit 7. Trading time for money forever. Here's a mindset trap that runs so deep, most people never even see it. From the time we're young, the message is the same. Work hard, get paid, put in the hours, collect the check. And that's not wrong, but it's incomplete, because that model has a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day, and your body only has so many years of full capacity in it. The habit that keeps people financially stuck is never asking the question, how do I make money when I'm not working? Now, before you check out, this isn't about becoming an investor overnight or quitting your job to start a business. It's a mindset shift first. It's starting to see income differently. A second stream doesn't have to be massive to matter. Even an extra few hundred a month from a skill you already have changes the math significantly over time. The people who break out of financial cycles aren't always smarter or luckier. They just stopped believing that one income source was ever going to be enough, and they started doing something about it, slowly and imperfectly. Habit 6. Lifestyle inflation in disguise. You get a raise or a little windfall from somewhere, and almost immediately, without even planning it, your spending adjusts upward to meet it. A new phone, better takeout, a subscription you've been putting off. Nothing dramatic, just a quiet, gradual expansion of what feels normal. This is lifestyle inflation, and the dangerous version of it isn't the big, obvious upgrades. It's the small, invisible ones that compound month after month until your higher income somehow still leaves you with nothing at the end of the month. The pattern keeps people on a treadmill their entire working life. Income goes up, spending follows. The gap between the two, which is the only gap that actually builds wealth, never widens. Luckily, the fix isn't deprivation. It's a simple rule. Every time your income increases, make a conscious decision about where that extra money goes before your lifestyle makes the decision for you. Even directing 20% of a raise towards savings before you get used to spending it can completely change your financial trajectory over 5 years. Habit 5. The social cost nobody talks about. This one is uncomfortable, but it's real. There's a quiet financial pressure that comes from the people around you. Friends who expect you to split bills evenly at restaurants when you ordered less. Family events that require you to show up with gifts you can't afford. Social circles where keeping up, even subtly, costs money you don't have. And because money is awkward to talk about, most people just absorb the cost silently. They overspend to avoid the conversation. They say yes when they mean no because the alternative feels embarrassing or isolating. This isn't about cutting off people you love. It's about recognizing that your social environment has a price tag and deciding consciously how much of your financial future you're willing to spend on appearances. Some of the biggest financial drains in working adults' lives aren't bills. They're social obligations that were never examined. Habit 4. Avoiding the numbers. Here's the one I mentioned at the beginning. The one most people don't realize is hurting them. Most people have a general sense of their finances. They know roughly what comes in, roughly what goes out, and they operate on a feeling of whether things are okay or not. And for most of the month, that works fine. Until it doesn't. The problem with managing money by feeling is that feelings aren't precise. You can feel fine and still be slowly losing ground. You can feel broke and actually be doing better than you think. Without actually looking at the numbers regularly, and I mean sitting down, opening the accounts, tracking what's coming in and going out, you're navigating blind. And here's the psychology behind why people avoid it. Looking at your finances when they're not great feels bad. So the brain avoids it. But avoidance doesn't make the numbers better. It just means the damage continues unexamined. And by the time you do look, it's worse than it would have been. The habit isn't complicated. It's just a regular check-in, once a week, 15 minutes, knowing exactly where you stand. That awareness alone changes your behavior. Not because you know more, but because you can't unsee it. Habit 3, renting everything and owning nothing. Think about how much of your monthly spending goes toward things you'll never actually own. Your phone on a carrier plan, furniture on a payment plan, a car on a lease, subscriptions stacked on top of subscriptions. Individually, none of it feels significant, but added up, and a huge portion of your income is committed every single month to things that build zero equity, zero ownership, and zero long-term value. Now, this isn't about never leasing or never subscribing to anything. Some of it makes sense depending on your situation. But there's a habit buried in here that's worth examining. The habit of choosing the lowest monthly payment without ever calculating the total cost. That phone plan that feels affordable at $30 a month, over 2 years that's $720 for a device you'll hand back or upgrade. That furniture you're paying off slowly with interest, you'll end up paying significantly more than the sticker price for something that's already depreciating in your living room. The fix is learning to think in total costs, not monthly costs, because the people selling you these payment plans are counting on you thinking monthly. It's how they make the expensive feel affordable, and how you end up with a lot of stuff and very little to show for it financially. Habit 2. Using credit to fill income gaps. Here's something a lot of people do, but almost nobody admits to. When money runs short before the next paycheck, the credit card fills the gap. It's not a big purchase. It's groceries, petrol, a bill that couldn't wait, and you tell yourself you'll clear it next month. But next month has its own shortfalls, so the balance grows a little, then a little more, and because the minimum payment is manageable, it doesn't feel urgent. This is one of the quietest and most damaging financial habits in working adult life. Because credit card interest, which can run anywhere from 18 to 30% annually, turns small shortfalls into long-term debt that is genuinely difficult to escape. You're not just borrowing money, you're borrowing it at a price that makes everything you buy on that card cost significantly more than it looked at the register. And here's the part that really stings. When you're carrying a balance month to month, a portion of every paycheck you earn goes straight to the bank before it can do anything useful for you. You're working, in part, for them. The habit to build isn't about cutting up your cards. It's about identifying why the gap exists in the first place. Whether that's an income problem, a spending problem, or the buffer issue we talked about earlier, and closing that gap before the interest charges become the main issue. Habit 1. Deprioritizing skills and knowledge. This last one is a mindset habit, and it might be the most important one on this list. There's a tendency when money is tight to treat any spending on yourself as a luxury. Courses, books, tools that would help you grow professionally, these feel like extras that responsible people skip when they're trying to save. So they get pushed off indefinitely, maybe when things are more stable, maybe next year. But here's the thing. The return on investing in a high-value skill is often better than almost any other financial move available to someone on a regular income. A course that helps you earn more, a certification that opens a new income door, even a book that changes how you think about your situation. These have compounding returns that a savings account simply can't match at this stage of the game. The habit of deprioritizing personal development isn't frugality. It's actually one of the more expensive choices a person can make long-term, because the opportunity cost of staying exactly where you are skill-wise is enormous over a decade. The fix here is simple but powerful. Stop seeing learning as spending and start seeing it as investing, not recklessly. Not every online course is worth your money. But the instinct to protect yourself from all self-investment when resources are tight is one of the habits that keeps people in the same financial position year after year, working just as hard for just as little progress. If this video made you think about your own habits differently, that's the point. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Not to call them out, but because most people are dealing with this silently and don't have to be. And if there's a specific habit or money pattern you want me to break down in a future video, drop it in the comments. I read them. With that said, thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow in the next video.